Hey guys, well, here's an experiment for you. I've tried to mount the camera in a place where I could show you my work. What I'm doing today is I am taking my peat pods that have the seedlings already started in them, and I'm transferring them ever so gently into these cups so that they can continue the next phase of their growth. Let me show you what I've been doing. I've been taking these individual plant pods here, little peat pods. I don't know if this can focus well. These, can you see them? Well, these are actually some tiny ones, but I was taking larger ones and trying to move them into these cups. And it's tough to separate individual ones. So what I've been doing is taking little clumps of happy looking ones and kind of finding a home for them. I take off what excess peat I can, and I use it to help to bury the others that need a little more peat around them. Because what's underneath that is soil. And on top of the soil there's a very thin layer of peat. And that peat is basically from the broken up peat pods that I was using. So I'm trying to distribute these around. It's hard to find stuff in the dirt all the time. But it's very hard to individually handle these. Let me see if I can get one over here. I don't know if you can see this one in the corner here. Let me try and move this in. Down here, as you can see, there's a little space right here. I've got one little plant growing right there. I don't know if he's going to survive. So what I'll do is I take this somewhat healthy looking little pod of sprouts, make a dimple. You don't want to bury them, and just nestle them. The amount of contact that peat needs with the dirt is only enough to transfer moisture from one end to the other. As the moisture transfers from the bottom of this plastic lined tray and comes up through the dirt, it brings with it the nutrients of the dirt and slowly introduces those nutrients into the peat where the plants are growing. As their roots grow, the very tips of those roots will reach out and begin to get used to the acidity or pH level of the soil underneath them until they get a foothold, and they'll start to grow down into it. Tobacco plants grow round and around. Root balls just kind of go with these things. They're like octopi. This particular happy little group, if I can show you without spilling any, is my Harrow Velvet. The nice blue cups are the Harrow Velvet. This one's going to go back home. They will continue to grow in these pods for probably at least another month, maybe 2. Depends upon their progress. Harrow Velvet I'm handling first because they are the hardest to grow. They're the most sensitive to change, and they're likely to just croak. So, because of that, I have saved their little remaining group. I'll let these guys get big enough till they start to tangle with each other, and then I have to separate them. But that's 10 cups of plants, from which I hope to get 20 healthy plants in total. As you can see, each cup, the plan was to only have 2 plants in each cup, but as they grow so close together and they're so hard to break apart from each other, I just left them in little pods of 3s and 4s. As they begin to grow, some of them will shoot rapidly up. It always happens, and they will become healthy little plants in a very short amount of time. At first they'll look weak, they'll almost look like they're dying, and then all of a sudden they'll start to perk up, and then after a few days they just start to flourish. If there are maybe 4 together, like right here, 4 or 5, maybe 2 of those will begin to sprout out like this and become good plants, while the other ones just kind of grow in slow little circles. They're just not healthy. When that happens, you'll just pluck out the unhealthy ones and let the other ones grow. And when these other ones get to be about, I don't know, maybe that tall, if the weather is warm enough outside, I will then move them to the larger pots, which are right over here. Alright, sweet pea. larger pots that these will go into look like this. Cheap, simple plastic. Not quite 1 gallon. And I've got enough soil to fill in the bottom, and then each individual cup will get seeded right in the middle, and soil will be filled in around it. So I'll have a base of soil with some kind of drainage medium down the bottom, maybe some mesh or some stones. Put the dirt on top of it up to a certain height, and then I'll make a, I'll just leave I'll let this dirt come. I'll break the cup open, and the shape of the dirt will be held by the root ball, and I'll put that whole root ball right in the middle, and then I'll just fill it around with soil, and that'll be good to go outside. And then we just watch it. Like I said, they're like weeds. They will love that. They'll grow like wildfire. Anyway, that's the next installment in PipeCat's Porch Plantation project. Keep watching. I'll show you how my little babies make out. Have a good one.
Flows and flows of angel hair and ice cream.